Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Camino Cafe. We are so excited to have all of you here today and very excited to be able to bring this Spanish lesson to our community. And that's all thanks to Maria Seco, who has just been so generous with her time and her effort to do some nice little complimentary lessons for us. And those of you that have been on calls with us before, you know that they're always full of little interesting tidbits, history about the Camino, information about the Camino. To me, they're way more than a Spanish lesson. It's kind of a cultural lesson as well every time. So I'm just delighted to have Maria with us today, and we will get started. So I'm going to turn the meeting over to Maria. For those of you who don't know her, she does own Spanish for the Camino, and she's got a lovely website, which I will have in the show notes, and you can check that out. And anyway, thank you. I think this is going to be just a great topic, one that's going to be so helpful for all of us when we're doing our next pilgrimage, which let's all hope that's sometime soon. So, Maria, we'll turn it over to you. And if anybody has questions, please put them in the chat.
Okay, hola, thank you, Lee. Yeah, the topic for today is a bit, we said we were going to talk about conversations that we could have either with other pilgrims or with local people. So it's kind of big because, conversations could be really anything. So let's try at least to get a few basics. Because I suppose everybody here would have a different level of Spanish. There might be someone who's a total beginner, some other people might know a bit more. So let's try at least to cover the basics and things that will help you, like create your own questions, for instance, on different topics and reply to questions. And well, yeah, if you have any questions, I mean, I have, as usual, I have some slides here, but if you have questions, you can, maybe put them in the chat, and I will try to get a bit of practice too. If you like. So I'm going to share my slides. Okay. Okay. So of course, first conversation you might have when someone is, you're introducing yourself or you meeting someone new. So you want to know, to say what your name is, or you want to ask the other person what their name is. So, well, in that case, if I'm introducing myself here, of course, greetings first. So, hola. And I could say, me llamo María. So my name is María. And you? What's your name? Y tú, ¿cómo te llamas? So, ¿cómo te llamas is the Spanish for what's your name? And well, let's keep going a bit, and then if you want to get the practice, once we have a few more sentences, we can have like a proper conversation, even if it's a mini conversation. So remember, for the name, you can ask someone, ¿Cómo te llamas? You're introducing yourself. You can say, me llamo, and your name. And of course, the greetings. I mean, I'm sure you know probably all of these greetings or most of them already, like hola, buenos días, buenas tardes, buenas noches. The distribution of buenos días, buenas tardes, buenas noches is not exactly like in English. Buenos días, it's good morning. So technically you would use good morning until midday, 12 noon. But really, we keep saying good morning until lunchtime, which in Spain is a bit later. So you can continue saying buenos días, let's say, until 2 p.m. Okay, so until 2 p.m. it's buenos dias. After that, you can start saying buenas tardes, which covers good afternoon and good evening. And you can keep saying buenas tardes. I mean, there's no exact time, but let's say at around 9 p.m. Until 9, it's okay to keep saying buenas tardes. And then after that, you can say buenas noches. So you can see here now already that buenas noches is not like the English good night, which you only use as a goodbye. When you're leaving, you're going to bed, bye-bye, good night. You cannot come into a place and say, oh, hello, good night. That would be very odd. You can do that in Spanish. You can come into a place and say, hola, buenas noches. Perfectly fine. So good night in Spanish can be used as a hello or as a goodbye. So you can use it when you go into a place or when you're leaving. And if you can't remember, was it días, tardes, noches, you can just say buenas. Okay, and that just covers all of them, and that's acceptable too. And then to say goodbye, well, you could say hasta luego, which would be the equivalent of see you later, or adios, which is more like goodbye. Of course, on the Camino, you'll be using, people would be saying to you, probably, buen camino, wishing you that you have a good Camino. And it's important to, greetings are important in Spain. When you go, let's say, into a shop, you go into, I don't know, a place where there are people waiting, I don't know, on the Camino, you probably won't do this, but let's say if you have a doctor's appointment and you go into a waiting room and there are other people waiting, you would come in and you would greet them. You go into a shop and you would, especially, not in very big shops, but, if it's a small shop and you can see the owner or shop assistant, whatever there, you would just say hi or good morning or whatever. And when you're leaving, okay, adios, hasta luego. Okay. I would say that is more important than saying please and thank you so much. Okay, I always say this, but you as English speakers, that I'm probably, I'd say most of you or all of you are, you can reduce the number of times you say please and thank you in Spanish probably by 90%, okay? And you still be doing fine. Too much please and thank you in Spanish, it's just kind of weird, okay? It's not, I know you're trying to be polite and everything, but if you overdo it, it just kind of has the opposite effect. And people are going to look at you like, okay, what is wrong with this person? There's something going on here. It's a bit suspicious. I don't know why they keep saying, but please or thank you or whatever it is so much. So I would say, like the greeting, for instance, would be more important. You go into a bar, a cafe, before you order, instead of just getting there and, okay, can I have this? Just say hello, good morning, good evening, some greeting, okay, before you get into the actual interaction of ordering your food or your coffee or whatever it is. Okay, so greetings. And then we have the name there, what's your name, blah, blah, blah. Another thing you could ask people, especially, the Camino, you meet people from all over the world. So you could want to find out where they are from. Okay, so, well, the question for that, where are you from, is ¿de dónde eres? that we have here at the bottom of the slide. De dónde eres? Where are you from? Now, you can answer this. I mean, it's the same in English. I'm not saying anything new here. If someone asks you in English, where are you from? Depending on the context of it, if you already know, let's say you are all in the same country and you know you are all from that country, it doesn't make sense. Let's say I'm in Spain, I'm Spanish, and I'm surrounded by Spanish people. It doesn't make sense for me to, or someone to ask me, where are you from? For me to reply, I'm Spanish, because it's like, okay, yeah, that's like obvious. So, but if you are in a context where you have people from different places, it might make sense. Okay, where are you from? Okay, I'm from Spain, I'm from France, I'm from Italy, I'm from the US, I'm from Canada. Okay, so here I have first the town, because let's say if I was in Spain surrounded by Spanish people, it would make more sense to say, okay, I'm from this town or this part of Spain. But if not, if we're like in the Camino where we have people from different places and we want to say the nationality, then you could have some, most likely that we would need today here. So I would say soy and then española. Española, ending in A, because I'm female. If I was male, I would say español. If you're from the US, soy estadounidense. Okay. Now I know that's quite a difficult word. You could say instead of that, you could say soy de Estados Unidos, like I'm from the US. So you have on the left the name of the country, España, Estados Unidos, Canada, and on the right you have the nationality. So from the US, estadounidense. If you are Canadian, soy canadiense. If you are South African, sudafricano for a male, sudafricana for a female. Si estadounidense, canadiense, that ending E, those don't change. So you don't have to worry about, okay, so male, female, they don't change. The ones ending in O, they do change to A. So if you're Australian, australiano or australiana. If you're British, británico or británica. So we just put everything together, and I've actually added something else here, okay? Because it could also happen that you are from one place, but that's not where you normally live. You live in another country, or you're from one part of the country, but you live in a different part of the country. So let's have a look at this little dialogue. So let's say I introduce, or well, not introduce, I just greet someone and ask them, what's your name? Hola, ¿cómo te llamas? And the person can say, me llamo, and the name, or soy, which means I am, and the name. So I could say, me llamo María, or soy María. They're both okay. Y tú, and you. So you can reply with your name. You don't even need to put I just put the sentence there so that you know what it looks like, but you don't even need to say the whole sentence. If someone asks you, ¿cómo te llamas? You can just say your name and it's fine. So you can just say your name. And if you want to ask them, okay, where are you from? ¿De dónde eres? Here you have two options. You can say soy de, and the name of the country, soy de, or town, if we're, or region, if we're being more specific, if the country is already obvious or is known. So I could say soy de España, like I'm from Spain, or soy, and then no de, and the nationality. Soy española. Soy de España or soy española. Or, as I said, I could say de España or de, be more specific. That, depending on the context, you decide. ¿Y tú? So now, again, asking you, where are you from? So you could say the same thing, soy and the nationality, or soy de and the country, pero vivo en, so I'm from this place, but I live in another place. So vivo means I live. In my case, right now, I could say soy de Pontevedra y vivo en Pontevedra, because I'm actually now living in my hometown. But if I was from here and I was living somewhere else, I could say soy de Pontevedra, pero vivo en, I don't know, Madrid. Imagine I was living in Madrid. That's the, I don't know if you have any questions so far. Hold on, can't see the chat. Okay, if soy estoy, okay, yeah, that's we're going there now in a minute with the soy estoy. So far, for what we've seen, which is identifying yourself, saying I am, you could say your name, soy Maria, or talking about where you are from, your origin, soy española, soy de España. For those, you use soy. Okay, not estoy. We'll have a look at estoy in a few minutes and see a couple of, basic differences between those two. Anything else so far? No, so far so good. Do you want to give this a bit of practice and ask each other what your name is, where you're from, say where you're from, how are you feeling about that? Whatever you want to do. If you want to get the practice, now this is your chance now.
Maria, how do you want us to do that? Because everyone will have to unmute. So do you?
Yeah, I mean, you can just unmute for a moment if you want, and
yeah. So let's have everyone unmute.
We can unmute for a few minutes. Get whoever wants to get a bit of practice, give them the chance to do it. I mean, don't feel, if you don't want to, it's okay. You're not making anyone, want to make anyone uncomfortable. But if you want to have the chance, you can do it, and then we can just get muted again, and we keep going. And I'm trying to, I can't go back to this thing is, I can't stop sharing my screen. I can't, so I'm kind of stuck in this slide because if I click on it, I'm sure it will go to the next one. And I don't know why it's not letting me stop sharing. Not sure what is going on. So anyway, if you want to, I wanted to go back so that you had the dialogue there and you could use it, but for some reason it's not. It's just not letting.
That's because it's Zoom.
Today is not my Zoom day. It didn't allow me to.
But do you want me to stop you from being co-host and then restart?
Maybe for a moment, yes, because it's just not letting me do anything here.
Okay, I just withdrew the co-host so that should stop the video, but it's not.
I know. Ah, shoot.
I'm not quite sure.
Welcome to a live call, everyone. This is what happens when we do things live.
Yes.
I think this is something we're all getting used to after 14 months of Zoom. That,
Right.
Okay,
They're
now
all
I just got to the end of the presentation and
I can't stop the share either. So I just,
okay,
I
well,
just didn't post again. But
at
you,
least I was able to, because I was clicking, got to the end, and now so I can go back to the screen, to the slide I wanted to have there.
okay.
So,
I'll go if you want me to start it out.
okay, yeah.
Hola, ¿cómo te llamas?
Are you asking anyone in
I'm asking
particular?
you. I'm asking you.
Me. Me llamo María, ¿y tú?
Sí, me llamo Lee. ¿De dónde eres?
Soy española. ¿Y tú?
Sí, soy Estados Unidos.
Okay, if you're saying the country, you need to say
Oh,
de.
estoy.
Soy de Estados Unidos.
Estoy de Estados Unidos.
Soy.
Soy
Remember,
de Estados Unidos.
for, you know, like introducing yourself, your name, where you're from, your nationality, it's soy.
So soy de Estados Unidos.
Okay.
Oh, you already told me.
Yeah.
Okay, so I wanted to try this one. So if I said, soy de Ohio, pero vivo in Seattle, Washington.
Perfect. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a perfect example. You're from one place, but you're living in another one. So yeah.
Okay. See.
Anyone else wants to give it a go?
Come on, everyone. You can't do it worse than me.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, if not, it's okay. We keep going. But you know, if you wanted the, you know, the chance to get a bit of practice. Okay, so questions. We've seen cómo te llamas, de dónde eres. So we have a couple of question words in there. Cómo, for the cómo te llamas, and dónde, for de dónde eres. So, okay, you have here the, let's say, the most common translation, but what happens with languages is that this is not maths, and it's not always like 100% match. So sometimes you have a word in Spanish and in English, depending on what you're saying, it could be this or that, or the other way around. It happens a lot with que and cuál, which are generally translated, que is generally translated as what and cuál as which, but there are many examples of when, for instance, in English, you use what, and we would use cuál in Spanish, and we're going to see some. And always things are not said in the same way. So the what's your name, if you could translate the Spanish question literally, ¿cómo te llamas? It would translate as something like, how do you call yourself? Okay. And that's why it has como there, which really means how, not what. So sometimes you just have to take things, okay, this thing, this sentence or this word means this in English, and just take it like that and don't analyze it too much, because sometimes, you know, if you try to do it very literally, it just doesn't make sense. So we have que and cuál, as I said, generally what and which, but these two in particular, they don't match that well. Then we have dónde, which is where, cuándo, which is when, cómo, how, cuánto, how much, and quién, which is who. And I'm just realizing now I probably should have added por qué with que and por qué, which is why. But anyway, at least we have our basic questions. One good thing about Spanish, let's say an advantage if you compare it to English, is that if you want to ask a question, you don't really need to do anything to the sentence, like in English, that you have to change the word order, or you have to add do, does, do you like this, do you whatever, or as I said, change the order of the words. If you have something that is not a question, you could say this is a pen, but if you want to make it a question, you have to say is this a pen, so that has to change. That does not happen in Spanish. You don't have to do any of that. So the same sentence, a sentence like this is a pen, all you have to do to turn it into a question is change the intonation. You don't need to change the order of the words. You don't need to add any extra words in there, nothing. Just it's all in the intonation. So we have the question words, and we have here a few useful verbs that get used a lot, okay? So ser, if you see the first two and you look at the translation, you see, okay, ser and estar, and they're both translated as to be. That's where the estoy that you were asking, someone was asking before, comes in. Soy means I am, but it's from the verb ser. Estoy also translates as I am, but it's the verb estar. What's the difference? Because, okay, we have two, but they're not the same. You cannot use them indistinctly, you know, each one is used for something different. So very generally, because I mean, these two verbs, they're like every Spanish student's nightmare, and something that even people with quite an advanced level sometimes, there's some cases, you know, where, you know, okay, it's not so clear, they struggle a bit. A very general distinction. We use ser to, for instance, identify or describe. So for instance, when you're introducing yourselves, remember when you know, what's your name, where are you from, just identifying yourself, or who you are, where you're from. If you were describing like, oh, I'm tall, or I'm short, or I'm whatever, dark haired, or all that is description. We would use ser for that. To estar, we use it when we're talking about locations. So let's say you want to ask, okay, you're lost and you want to ask, where am I? That's estar. Or you're looking for, I don't know, your accommodation, supermarket, the cathedral, museum, something. You want to know, where is this place? That's location also, so that's also estar. We also use estar to talk about how you say, moods and feelings. So let's say you want to say that you are tired. So that's how you're feeling now. Being like tired doesn't describe you as a person. It's just how you're feeling right now because you've been walking for I don't know how many hours. So that's estar. Or you are, I don't know, happy about something in particular, or you are angry because something happened that you didn't like. These are moods, feelings. So those would be estar. You would use estar for those. Then other handy verbs that we have here, querer, which means to want, necesitar, need, tener, to have. Now, tener means to have, as in to own, let's say. Not you cannot use tener with the meaning of the English to have for food or drink. Like I'm going to have a coffee. We cannot use tener for that. For that, we use the second last one, which is tomar. That's to take or have in the sense of food or drink. To have a coffee, to have a beer, to have some food, that is tomar. Tener, to have in the sense of owning. I have my backpack here, I have whatever, I have 2 t-shirts, or I have some food that I bought earlier and I need to finish. Okay, that meaning of to have, to own something. Comer, to eat, beber, to drink. As I said, tomar is to take, as in, eat or drink. And comprar, to buy. There is one that I didn't add here because it's a bit special. It's all these verbs, we're going to see, they have to change depending on the person and all that. This one doesn't change. It's I, H-A-Y, and it means there is or there are. So that's quite handy too. Okay, we have some expressions here like please, thank you, I don't understand, no entiendo, más despacio, someone speaking to you in Spanish and they're speaking too fast. You could say más despacio, por favor. If you want them to repeat, ¿cómo? ¿Puedes repetir? Disculpa and lo siento. These two get mixed a lot, okay? Disculpa is excuse me, like let's say you need to ask someone something, you see someone walking by and you're like, excuse me, hey, please, I'm calling you, talk to me. That's disculpa, okay? Lo siento, it's I'm sorry, you are apologizing. Okay, so you would use, you wouldn't use lo siento. I mean, you could use disculpa to apologize, but you cannot use lo siento to call someone. Like, the way you see someone walking by and you need to call their attention. For that, it has to be disculpa. ¿Qué significa? Someone says something and there's one word in there that you don't understand, or you're looking at the menu, you understand most of it, but there's some word there that you don't understand. ¿Qué significa? What does that mean? This should be in the other order, but anyway. I was saying about the verbs that they kind of change the ending depending on the person. Okay, so if like before we said soy, or even the question, what's your name? ¿Cómo te llamas? So you have llamas ending in AS. And when you're replying, you say me llamo ending in O. So that's what you have here. If you're saying I, then the verb ends in O. If you're trying to say you do something, your verb ends in AS or ES, depending on, if the main verb ends in AR or ER. I know this you know, so that you know. I mean, I know this, if you're not familiar with this, it takes a while to get your head around. I mean, the concept is not hard to understand, but because it's not something that you do in English, just to remember to do it when you're speaking Spanish, it takes a bit of getting used to, but so that you know how it works. So you actually don't need to say in Spanish the words for I, you, he, she, the way you do in English. In Spanish, we don't say them most of the time because that information is already in the verb. If I say necesito, okay, the person, the other person knows I'm saying I need, because necesito is the form for I. And if I say necesitas, is you need. So you don't actually need to say the words yo, which means I, or tú, which means you, or él, ella, he or she. You don't need to say all of those. Now you have here these verbs, because these ones, especially ser and ir, are quite irregular, so they don't follow the pattern that I just showed you in the previous slide. We have seen already the donde eres, where are you from? So you have the eres there, the form for you and ser. Soy española, soy de España, so I am. If you were introducing a third person, he or she is the name, or he or she is from whatever place, then you could say es. Es the name, es de España, es de Canadá, whatever you want to say. Location, remember, estar. Donde, you don't know where you are. Remember the word for where is donde, and now I am is for location is estoy. So if you want to ask where am I, where is donde? I am, remember we don't need to change any word order or add anything, is estoy. So donde estoy? So that's where am I, and you have your sentence there already. Who are you? Does anyone remember the word for who? It was quién, and are you or you are. Now that's identifying, so it's ser. So that's eres. So quién eres? ¿Quién eres? Who are you? So you just, you know, pick your, if it's a question that needs one of these question words, just pick the question word, you pick your verb in the right person, and that's it. That's your question done, that's your sentence complete. You don't need to add anything else, you don't need to worry about, okay, which order, no, that's it. Let me see, do you have any questions so far? Okay, yeah, Carla has a good thing there for the which ones you use with ser and estar. Yeah, if you're talking about, yeah, Karen, things like you're talking about what you do, your profession, your occupation, you would also use ser. So yeah, occupation, description, origin, like we just saw, where are you from? All of those, yeah, go with ser. Estar, yeah, position, location, which are related. Condition, emotion, yeah, what I was talking about, moods and feelings and all that. Yeah, that's right. And I have some some phrases here if you want to give it a try and see if you can figure out how to ask them in Spanish. Right now, oh yeah, it's working, the getting out of the presentation now. Does anyone, okay, what is this? Would anyone know? Let me see, I think these are the question words. So what is this? Karen, are you, yeah?
Mhm.
Want to have a go?
¿Qué,
Yeah.
¿Qué es eso?
Yeah. I'll write it here, maybe in the chat for everybody.
¿Qué eres eso?
¿Qué es, well, eso or eso would be that. Esto would be this. I mean, they're both correct, obviously, depending on your perspective. If it's closer to you, you would say esto. If it's a bit further away, you would say eso. So, yeah, ¿qué es esto? What is this? Where are we? Let me, where do I have the, not this one, here. So you remember
¿Dónde?
where?
¿Dónde estamos?
Yes, donde is where, and are we or we are is estamos. You can see that it's location, so it's estar. So donde estamos? That's right. Another one. Are you from here? Anyone wants to give this one a try?
¿Eras de aquí?
Yes. Yeah. It is, because that's you are or are you. From is de, and aquí is here. So eres de aquí. That's right. Are you from here? Now the next one is one Lee just did like an interview for my blog, and I asked her to, include a list of words, phrases that she wished she had known when she did her first Camino. So I think in this one is also, it could be a good conversation starter, if you're in a place and asking the local people, okay, do you have any local wine or food in general, something like that. So what's the local wine?
¿Cuál es el vino? El vino?
Okay, hold on, because I just see, I don't know what this Zoom today is. Instead of sending the mess, I'm typing here the questions, but instead of being sent to everybody, they are just being sent to one person only. I don't know why. So let me just
That's
send
sent
them
to everyone. Yeah.
to everyone. Yeah, but I don't know why it was set to just one person.
Yeah, we all got that last one.
Okay, now everybody should have got the 3 questions. Zoom is not cooperating today very much. So what's the local wine?
¿Cuál es el vino?
Okay, Lee, you should know. Yes.
¿Cuál es el vino?
Yeah, ¿cuál es el vino local?
You wouldn't say
Okay. Is there a typical dish? Remember, there is, there are, which it doesn't matter if it's a question, it's I, H-A-Y.
Right.
So,
Hay un plato típico.
Hay un plato típico. Yeah. Okay. So that's another, conversation starter. Now, if you like to, talk to locals a bit, like especially in smaller places, like older people, they usually love to chat to anybody. They just dying for chance to talk to anybody. So you ask them about the food or some local whatever. Is there some story here or some even what are imagine if it's they have crops or something. Okay, so what are you planting, what are you growing here, or what are these crops, whatever. Any I'm sure they they'd be delighted to tell you all about it. How many churches are there?
¿Cuánto
Do you remember?
iglesias?
Okay, yeah, because it's how many,
Five.
not how much, we have to change it a bit, make it plural. So instead of cuánto, it's cuántas,
Okay.
and iglesias, and are there,
Five.
same as is there, hay. ¿Cuántas iglesias hay? So again, in a town, whatever. Okay, so how many churches are there in this town, for instance, or I don't know, just an example. Then you just so that you see how the how the thing, how you put the whole thing together. Then you can just change the words there to fit whatever you want to say. What's the weather forecast for tomorrow? Now this one is a bit tricky because this one doesn't translate as literally. Okay, I'll give you this one. Okay. ¿Qué tiempo? I'll type it here and send it. ¿Qué tiempo? Now, a very handy way, and that's actually how we use it to talk about the future. When we have these verbs here, okay, ir means to go. Okay, and same way that in English you say, I am going to do something with go. In Spanish you use ir, a. So if you want to say, I am going to have a shower, or I'm going to eat, voy a comer. I am going to eat, voy a comer. Are you going to eat? Vas a comer. So talking about the weather, really what you're saying is, what is the weather going to be like tomorrow?
¿Qué tiempo
Okay.
hay?
¿Qué tiempo va a hacer mañana?
Oh,
Okay.
what?
The weather, it's always it's always a topic for conversation. I don't know if you have any questions. Oh, now it allows me to stop sharing. Great.
¿Qué tiempo va a hacer mañana?
Mm-hmm. So I don't know if you want to ask anything, if you have any particular question that you would like answered.
I have two questions.
Yeah.
One is instead of plato, could you use comida? ¿Qué comida?
Yeah. Comida is food, but yeah, it's also it would be okay also to ask. Hay una comida típica, yeah.
Okay. And
It's
the other
okay.
question is, thank you. And the other question is for the verb vosotros. You know, I'm doing Duolingo and vosotros hasn't come up, and I'm wondering
it won't come up in it won't come up in Duolingo at all, because vosotros is not really used in Latin America, and Duolingo uses the Latin. I mean, You can't even call it Latin American Spanish because it changes a
Okay.
lot. It's not the same in every country. I'd say it uses Mexican Spanish more specifically, but anyway, in general, in Latin America, vosotros is not used. They use ustedes.
Ustedes.
Is like in
Mhm,
Spain, that would be like the formal, you plural, but informally we use vosotros. So yeah, no, you won't find that one. It won't come up in it won't come up in Duolingo at all.
Okay, but it's used in Spain.
Yes, that's what is normally used
Okay.
in Spain. Yes.
Okay, thank you. Gracias.
No problem. Anything else? No? But I hope it all makes sense because I said this topic is like so big. There's well, at least let's get some basics covered, and then you see how you can make your own sentences once you know how, let's say the system works. You just pick the right, whatever, the right word, the right verb, the right question, whatever, and just how you can put them all together. And yeah.
No, I was going to just say that was great, Maria. What a lot of information, a lot of stuff to practice. So that was wonderful. And I just put in the chat again the links to Maria's website, which she has a wonderful blog. So you can check that out. And she has lessons and different workbooks that you can purchase as well. And she also does personal lessons, of course, if you ever want to have an individual one-on-one lesson. And also I put in the link for Buy Me a Coffee, which is a way to, if you want to show appreciation to Maria for the lesson today or our past lessons, you can do so there. It's a really, really lovely little site and very easy to use. So anyway, thank you for everyone coming today. It's always wonderful to get these lessons and to get the information we need to be more prepared for our next Camino. And I know that we're all going to be doing a much better job conversing with fellow pilgrims that we meet and people that are working along the Camino, which is a wonderful thing to do. Because I know I was very embarrassed when I couldn't have some pretty basic conversations when I was there last time. So I'm hoping that I will do a little bit better this next time with Maria's help. So thank you, Maria. And if everybody wants to unmute and say goodbye or say thanks, or if you have a last question. And
Muchas gracias de Canada.
De nada.
Thank you.
Gracias.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
De nada.
I was going to tell everybody that Carla put in the chat the Canadian Company of Pilgrims with the,
Yes.
the link for the Holy Year fabric patch. So thanks, Carla.
Yes.
If anybody
It's a good
wants to
cause.
look that up.
yes,
It's really cool.
There's a whole bunch of fundraisers on right now. That's great. Yeah.
Mhm.
exactly.
Okay.
No, thanks, Maria.
Gracias. Hasta luego.
Hasta luego.
Hasta
Próxima.
luego.
Yes.